is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Bum, bum, bum. Hey! It's us!
Hey,
We're
everybody.
back! It's happening!
Yeah!
Hot dogs! Hot dogs! Hot dogs! Well, hot dogs!
It's Decom Descendants, same podcast, no new reviews. Womp womp.
Anything on
Womp womp.
Spotify or?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean,
Guys,
I'm
leave
still
us a
logged
rating
into the
and
wrong
review.
account.
Bran goes home and he cries himself to sleep when he doesn't get new reviews.
I mean, he does that most days.
Yes,
but-
it
That's true.
actually
That's
has
true.
nothing to do with the show situation.
Yeah.
But it certainly
More just
doesn't.
Bran.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Now, are our 300 reviews combining Apple Plus?
No, it's just Apple. It's just Apple
never-
Podcast. That's it.
We never said
We
that.
actually specifically said it had
Did
to
we?
be Apple
Did we?
ratings and reviews.
Did we?
Also, though, the last Apple rating review we had was November 5th, which at this point, ages ago. Just ages ago. So,
You're an age ago.
guys,
Is it the fact that women can't vote anymore? And we,
that's probably something
we
to
can't
do
leave
with it. You
reviews
can't leave
either?
reviews. That was one of the things in the fine print there
yeah.
with the election.
Da,
You
da,
didn't
da, da,
Yeah.
da.
What a bummer. I mean,
I got some stuff. I got some stuff,
You got
everybody.
some stuff.
do you have stuff and
I got
reviews?
some stank here.
All right.
Okay.
I actually think I already read this one.
okay.
You have nothing. Cool.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I read Olivia's thing about being a 12-year-old girl. I don't know. Let me read it anyway. Olivia says, as a 12-year-old girl who loves to watch DComs and Disney Channel TV series, it's really interesting seeing how older Disney Channel fans react to older Disney Channel stuff and also how people who didn't grow up with Disney Channel react.
I don't remember this.
I really enjoy the podcast. Keep up the good work. Olivia,
Hey.
we're big. We're big in the 12-year-old
Olivia.
girl market.
She gave
All
us
right.
2 thumbs up.
Man, two thumbs
thumbs up.
Thank you, Olivia.
How about that? That's
Fantastic.
Chris says, I thought I was listening to a decom podcast. It turns out to be a Cotton Eye Joe podcast, and I'm here for it.
Fair. Fair.
I think we did read that one.
That's great. I love
Yeah.
that. I got to be honest. If I would have assumed that no 12-year-old is listening to our show.
No question.
So, you find out some days you're wrong, and you got to live with that. We're talking Eddie and Millie.
I'm thinking through some of our episodes.
What? Maybe. Olivia.
Hey,
maybe
Olivia.
don't
Hey.
listen.
Hey, bud.
Thank you, but no thank you.
No, come on, listen. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
PG-13,
It's nothing.
right?
It's nothing. Yeah, we'll be.
You're almost there.
We'll be PG-12 for Olivia.
PG-12.
We know Olivia's listening, and we gotta.
Okay.
We gotta, of course, make sure that Olivia
Knock it down a tick to PG-12.
Knock it down.
That's right.
The Cotton Eye Joe bit though
Cotton Eye Joe.
is PG safe. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
they
comes
played
to town, he marries all the women.
they played that song for me when I was in like the 6th grade. So
Yeah.
That's right. We can't
It's
get in
above
trouble for
board.
this.
Yes.
We're talking about Eddie's $1 million cook-off
Yeah, we are.
today, and so you might be wondering to yourself, there's probably a ton of things that they could choose.
So
for
many
the delish.
things.
What that's probably what people are tuning in for. They're like, oh, I wonder what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, now is the time to find out. It's time for Delish. It's where Aaron brings something that is in some way, shape, or form related to the movie in which we're reviewing, and we eat it.
It's thematically
or drink
delicious.
no, we eat it all the time.
Sometimes we drink it. It's a cocktail.
Sometimes it's a cocktail.
Yeah.
We don't
All
drink this, I don't think.
No, these are
I-
Eddie dogs.
Please don't.
Now,
All right, what do we got going
go
on
ahead.
here?
Yeah, so we, as I knock over Dan's phone, we
dare
have
you.
some plain hot dogs.
Great.
We have a couple topping options.
Yeah.
So everyone here is going to get the chance to make their own Eddie dog.
Now, what is
So-
an Eddie dog?
An Eddie dog is if you go to the ballpark and pretend that they left every topping imaginable out for you to just stick your hands into. Eddie makes a dog and it has, it's like sauerkraut,
Sauteed onion,
sauteed
sauerkraut or
onions,
cabbage, ketchup,
cherry tomatoes,
mustard, cherry tomatoes,
cheese.
jalapenos.
Yeah. If you think you might be able to find it at the ballpark, it's on an Eddie dog. I don't think I'd eat an Eddie dog, but
There's a chili on there, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
I-
a southern thing. I don't know.
yeah, I do love the idea of putting toppings on a hot dog. My favorite is a Chicago dog. I do love the green
It's
relish.
a Chicago
Celery
dog.
salt on there?
Yeah,
Interesting.
haven't found one down here.
So
in
what are we
Yellow
doing?
There was
Greenbelt.
one place that closed
We got
right before you
two
moved down.
dogs, three
Clubhouse.
hosts.
Okay.
What are we doing?
But then
Dan,
also,
You and I are splitting one,
We're splitting
Brandon,
it.
because
Yeah.
she didn't have lunch.
if
so
you want, if you want to channel your inner Bridget, we do have a cake,
Bridget.
which is how Bridget would have made a dessert.
Now,
Perfect.
I think, Aaron, in true Eddie Dog fashion, we should put all these toppings on here and make Bran eat it. I think that would be only fair.
Wow.
I mean, I would. The marshmallows too.
Yeah, all of it. No, I'm just kidding. He's not going to want any of that stuff on there.
I mean, I do. I want all that stuff.
I do too.
Well,
Definitely.
just
Is that
split
relish
mine and then
anymore?
give me the
Yeah, it
dog.
Yeah.
Split one and then give me the dog. Give me half
No,
the dog.
Yeah, give him half the dog. That's fine. So he can eat it plain, I guess.
Is there any ketchup?
No, it's hot dog. How dare you?
Oh, we had ketchup.
I don't do mustard on hot dog. I do ketchup on hot dog.
Mustard on brat.
Mustard on brat, yeah.
That's
Yeah, we had
weird,
ketchup
bro.
on the table.
We don't anymore.
Great dog.
I just
That's
plain.
a plain dog.
Just-
That's a good dog.
Calm down in there, buddy.
Man. You made these.
Homemade. It's a
You
homemade
made this.
delish.
But you could also go to your local. What was it? Double Dog? Where did I go?
Double dogs.
Double Dogs.
your
And they would
house.
have the exact same recipe as this, is what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying?
Nathan's famous hot dog.
Hot dogs are weird, huh?
You bet.
I'm trying to think really about what's going on there.
Well, that's mistake number one.
Tell me about what you're doing there. You put the mustard on and then you flip the dog over.
Interesting.
I've never seen that done before. I don't have any problem
I
with it. I've
usually
just,
put
never,
mustard on the side of the bun before I put the hot dog.
I've
in.
just never seen it done.
I just wanted to be able to put more toppings on, so I thought if I flipped it, then it's not all gonna like slide off.
Is this something you've done before? You just
Yeah.
did it? Okay.
No,
I
I've
didn't
done
know if
before.
it was a new. So guys, hot dogs are good. So now you know that. A lot of people were wondering kind of what's the deal with hot dogs? Are they good or not? Hot dogs.
We
Hot
have
dogs
the
good.
official review in.
Official review: hot dogs are good. Review on Eddie Dogs still out.
Double dogs?
You've got the closest thing I think to an Eddie dog over there.
I put everything on mine.
Okay, great. The marshmallows.
No.
I would.
Yeah, let's not.
You want to put a couple on here?
I'll do it. We're having fun here.
She's going to taste it first.
Yeah.
Oh, not bad.
I'll do it like Eddie. Oh, she's doing it. Here we go.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Hot dog, marshmallow, Aaron Shea, action. Wow, that was a good munch into the
A
mic.
good much.
How was that? Dan's walking out.
outta here.
He's so mad. What do you think?
You can't really taste the marshmallow.
Okay, we'll be right back. Become
This is good stuff, guys. This is
Can't
really
taste
good.
the marshmallow.
You can't taste it.
Where'd you go? Oh, you just
I
went.
went to get a little dessert, a little something to, cleanse the palate from the hot dog.
Oh, just
People
one.
are like, I thought this was
Just
a.
one.
You want one?
I thought this was a podcast.
No, I'm good. I do have a whole hot dog.
No, I'll get you one. No, it's okay.
Hi, everybody. I mean, I think for the people out there that don't like eating on the podcast,
Maybe not a great episode for you.
well,
sorry.
it's not a great show even. I mean, we have a whole segment. That'd be like watching Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off and being mad that there's a cook-off. You know, the D stands for delish.
It stands for delish.
And you
can't
need to
spell
know
decom
that.
without the
You need
D
to know
for
that
delish.
right up front. We are unabashed.
I did have one earlier. They're really good.
Right?
Let's get to Eddie's.
You can also try some Lindt truffle snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle chocolate
What's the
truffle.
tie-in?
There's not. It's just,
Okay.
it's just
Real
a snack.
It's circular, shaped like a baseball.
Yeah, it's a baseball.
It's a baseball
love that
chocolate.
rough.
It's just a snack we have here in the office that we really like.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Snacks. Are there any that you can think of that smile back?
Goldfish.
Yeah. There you are, the snack that smiles back.
Beautiful.
Really good stuff.
Let's talk about Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, shall we? A movie that premiered on the Disney Channel on July 18th, 2003. A movie that I would have assumed, and I think we've even talked about this, Aaron, but I thought this was later. I thought this was
Yeah.
later. I thought this was in like even 3 years later. But it's not. It's right now.
No, I knew it was before like the High School Musical era. But
Yeah,
I don't know if I would have put it in 2003.
I think I felt like it was closer, is all I'm saying. Not right in it.
Sounds like
in
you're
it.
alone here.
I'm alone here. No, Aaron's with me. She's not with me.
Didn't sound like it. That's not what I got
she's
from
with
that.
me. Well, she's not with
She's
me.
like, we're not in lockstep.
Classic brand.
We're
You
not.
just say whatever you want. He's going to just be like, yeah. No,
We're not in
we're
lockstep, but the steps are close enough to where if somebody looked at him, they'd be like, I mean, I can see that the steps are a little bit off, but they were clearly together.
That's when I carried you.
Yeah, that's right.
You're one set of footprints.
I'm
Brand was
carrying
wrong.
Erin and her ridiculous thoughts here.
All right.
This is directed
I don't know
by
how we got there, but
Paul Hohen. We've talked about
Hohen.
Paul before. we'll see him again with the Cheetah Girls. We just saw
Next week.
Next week, wow. You Wish is where we saw him recently, and True Confessions. And so
he did a whole bunch right back to
did a
back.
bunch. He was busy. This was a busy time for old Paul. Starring
He
Taylor.
worked for like 1 year.
Yeah, it was a really good year for him. Taylor Ball, one of what did we find out? He only did like 6 other things.
Yeah, he was in a show where he was on like 60 some episodes of the show called Still Standing. But aside from that, he only did like 4 other things.
It's crazy.
So not a lifelong actor.
Orlando Brown is in this movie. Riley McClendon, Rose McIver, and Mark L. Taylor. Mark L. Taylor, who is, we'll see him again in High School Musical 2, among other things. Shall we dive into Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off?
Please.
Please.
We're at a ballpark.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's baseball time.
Tickets here.
That's right. A lot
That's
of
right.
that going on.
Yeah.
It is another season.
I don't think they were selling tickets for any of those
Get your
games.
hot dogs, cold beer. Cold beer
You could, go to
here.
that, you could go to that game for free. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I think that game was definitely free.
Can you imagine if they sold beer at the Little League games? It would be a mess.
Parents are already insane.
The worst.
At
That's
Little
right.
League games. It's crazy. The guy's just Little League. Chill.
Yeah.
And so it is another season for the Groundhogs, and they are as bad as ever, except for Eddie. Eddie is the one player. It's
He's
the
the
saving
he's the
grace.
star.
He's the
He
star.
can catch, he
His
can
dad's the
hit, he can
coach.
throw.
That's right.
He can crow, Rufio.
Every year
But
is a building year.
it's a building year.
It's a building
It's not
year.
a rebuilding year. They've never built anything.
Yeah.
Every year they're building something.
But this is the year that they're going to build towards something.
And they have the same players every year.
Yeah,
And
but-
they expect a different result.
They want to beat the big boys. The big
Yeah.
boys are mean
The
too.
Eagles, the
they're
Eagles.
not. They're not kind. But what they want more than any of that are Eddie dogs. They love Eddie
they love
dogs.
an Eddie
they've
dog.
been
They've
waiting
been
all
waiting
year
a
for
whole
Eddie,
year.
for
That's
Eddie
exactly
dogs.
right. Eddie knows how to make
Can you make a hot dog at any other time of the year? No.
no, gotta be in the ballpark.
I will say there is something
yeah.
about a hot dog with
Yeah.
baseball.
As
that
soon as
works.
I said that, I was like, no, actually, at the ballpark is when I most.
I mean, they're
want a hot
ballpark
dog.
Franks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Controversial opinion. I always
here
go
we go.
for a sausage with peppers and onions at a ballpark.
Well, if I'm in a
love
ballpark
sausage.
that has that,
Yeah, that's what I'm going
But
for.
like at the Greenville Drive up here, you're not.
I'm always picking sausage over hot dog.
But-
But if there's
Yes.
only hot
Like-
dog, I will
Yeah.
take a
I
hot
even
dog.
the
and be
bratwurst
happy.
at Greenville Drive is terrible. Like
Really?
you just need to get a regular hot dog. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like in my opinion,
Hot take.
I've not had anything
Mm-hmm.
there like the hot dog. You can't mess it up. So, but
The
yeah,
drive
at
that-
like Yankee Stadium, sausage, peppers, and onions, or a brat. Like those are the options. Hot dog
right.
doesn't even come into
Yeah.
the fray.
That's right.
Fenway, I will walk to the furthest concession stand because it's always the furthest one that has the sausage and
You
peppers.
talking about Fenway Park?
Fenway Park? Yes.
Pack?
Pack.
The pack? Eddie knows how to make a hot dog pop, and you might think that's where it ends for Eddie in regards to food.
He just
And
happens to have a way with the dog.
he does have a way with the dog. His
Yeah.
dad really thinks that Eddie could be something special in the baseball field, but Eddie finds himself drawn to something else.
The culinary arts.
That's exactly right. He turns on the TV and he is hypnotized by Bobby Flay, who hasn't been there. He even whips up with his buddies some Fruit Loop fried chicken.
Yes, mom is cooking dinner. She cuts herself. Mom,
That's all right. That's as much as we can play of that.
Yeah, that's all we can play.
mom, dad, and both older brothers leave the
Yes.
children home alone.
Yes.
And they're like, put all this food away. Mom's injured herself, and she's a woman. She's the only one who can cook here. And then Eddie's like, maybe.
What if I fried chicken?
He's like tenderly putting the chicken away, and he goes, guys, what if we cooked it?
What?
And it's just boys hanging around and
Cooking Fruit Loop
that's
chicken.
exactly right. Boys will be boys. They experiment with
Chicken.
chicken and Fruit Loops. They're just
right.
having a good time.
It's
They
experimental
doesn't
phase.
mean anything. They
It's
doesn't
experimental
mean-
phase for a lot of young teens, young
Who hasn't
adolescent teens.
stumbled their way into
to
a
a fried
kitchen?
chicken.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the food is delicious.
It's delicious.
It is.
So everyone is thankful for Eddie, right? They don't give him a hard time.
No, they're like, man, Eddie, is he a cooking savant?
What's
No.
interesting is that his buddies DB and Frankie do
Those aren't three
They're-
people, it's two people.
DB.
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 DB and Frankie.
Yeah, they are like they help with
Well,
the
it's
cooking.
D, and then B and Frankie.
B and Frankie.
Frankie.
B and Frankie. That's
B
right.
and Frankie.
What does DB stand for? Do we ever know?
David is his first name. They call him Davey at one point.
Thought it was Dirty Bastard.
Olivia,
Sorry,
we're so
Olivia.
sorry.
Olivia.
Sorry, Olivia. Sorry about
PG-12. I feel like you could say that in PG-12, right?
Olivia, let us know. Comment on the Spotify episode of
Got
this
it.
and let us know
Oh my gosh.
if Bastard is A-okay. In your house.
What do you want from me? This is the show where we don't have to be PG.
No, I know. It was just Brand repeating it, saying, "Let us
Bastard.
know if you can say this in
Yes.
your house."
Go
Let
ask
us
your
know.
parents if they're cool with you listening to a podcast
Or your
that says
guardians.
bastard.
Mom.
We're your
Dad.
guardians. Is that what
I
you
said,
just-
or your guardian.
Oh, gotcha. Parents are
We're
guardians.
not your guardian.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
So Dirty Bastard is there. And who else?
Dirty Bastard, and Frankie. They are all there. And they do, like, there's a little bit of like, oh, this is actually really good. He's like, yeah, whatever. It is the start of a new school year, and everybody knows how electives work, but I will remind you at home. So when you go to school,
Clipboard, y'all.
yes, when you go to school.
Before we get to the
Go ahead.
clipboards, I do want to point out that Eddie gets teased a bunch by his friends and family, even though they all loved the meal. They give him a hard time
you, a
about
girl
what are you
now?
being a girl? You gonna trade your baseball glove for your mitt for an oven mitt? I didn't do it right.
You crushed it.
No, we got that.
You do it.
We
Don't
pulled
sell
it straight
yourself
from
short.
the movie. It was
Don't sell
really
yourself
good.
short. You crushed it.
I'm just really upset for Eddie
Olivia.
there.
I'm upset for
Oh,
Olivia.
you're
She has to
upset for
hear
Olivia.
this.
Yeah.
Olivia.
Whatever. It was really tough to watch.
Do you want to give it one more go?
No, I don't.
I didn't know. I didn't want to rush past it. If you wanted another go, I'd give you another
You're
go.
the
but it's
one
totally-
trading your thing for this. That thing's not this thing.
Because I think
One
his
of these
dad calls
things.
it a catcher's mitt for an oven mitt, but Eddie's not a catcher, and that's where I fumbled. As I was like, wait,
First baseman's mitt, probably. Maybe. I don't remember
Yeah.
that line. I remember
Yeah.
them making fun of him, though.
yeah, and then they just give him a really hard time, and it's like, well, you just ate every piece of food
That's
on
right.
this table,
And it
and
was
you all
good.
loved
That was
it.
amazing.
But yeah, let's tear him down, and so he never does it again.
Quit being a girl. Well, It
Yeah.
was really good.
And mom's just there like, yeah, I guess girls can.
Girls are the worst.
Mom's just like, boys.
So
Wow.
yes, they walk into the school, the hallway, and it is on the wall. There is a bunch of clipboards, and everybody runs, and they have to sign up for what elective they are going to take.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it works. Loser walks.
Loser
That's-
walks.
that is- there's
Loser
no
walks.
rhyme or reason. There's no teachers anywhere near
Yes.
Brand.
Now
It's just madhouse.
It's a madhouse. Now his brothers gave him the inside scoop that you're gonna want to take computer science. It is the blow off class.
Oh, it's a
blow-off class.
cruise, yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Bunch of bros doing computer stuff.
And so Eddie runs to and kind of claws his way to the front, and he sees computer science. But what does he see right next to the computer science
Home
clipboard?
ec, y'all.
Is home economics. And he noticed as he was walking into school today, the new building that is there, and that building is the home ec class. He looks inside, he
They
sees
just
all the
finished
ovens.
building that $1 million.
It's an amazing building. And he sees like the ovens and whatnot, and he starts getting really pumped about it. And then Dirty Bastard and Frankie, they're like, come on, man, we gotta sign up for the computer class. So anyway, he decides that he is going to.
You're laughing knowing we're going to say dirty bastard no less than 12 more times this episode. And there's nothing we can do about it.
a great wrestler.
Set in stone. and rapper, for that matter. I
so-
don't know if he was a great rapper. I never really heard him. He was old. I know that.
So he does this thing, like one of the things that they do, which is really fun with the clipboards, is they put them on this thing where if you undo it, they all fall off.
Yeah.
It's fun. And so he's like, I'll make them all fall off, and then I'll accidentally grab the home ec thing, make the guys sign it, and then I can't get in trouble for this, basically.
That's right.
And so they all sign up for home ec.
It was a goof.
He acts like it was an accident, but he's really excited about home ec and learning all the things about cooking and whatnot.
I mean, even despite their like outdated like ideology that guys can't cook, would it not be fun to sit in a class and be like, hey, instead of taking math right now, we're eating cookies?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're so mad about the fact that they're gonna bake cookies.
I knew of no dude that took home ec in my school. And I always remember seeing the home ec class going, dude, they're eating baked goods.
The,
like
pro-
the
the
whole time.
problem with the
Yeah.
home ec, though,
I was
it-
always like jealous. My friend would be like, this is what we learned to do today. And I was like, why not take that class?
I did actual schoolwork.
the problem, the reason why like my friend group didn't do it is because it wasn't just cooking, at least at our school. It was also like sewing and some other various
Oh,
things.
I don't want any part of that.
And so it was like, if it was just cookies, we would do it. But I don't want to learn how to sew.
Yeah, anybody can cook, but only girls
Yeah,
can
I don't think
sew.
ours were sewing.
Listen, anyone can do anything. boys can't sew, and that's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a
I
fact
do
from,
think-
from now until eternity.
It wasn't called like home ec at my high school. It was something in like the restaurant industry. Like, and I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, so it was specific.
But it was it was basically like you're learning how to run like
in high school, we did have a
an
culinary
actual
class. Yeah. In middle school,
and so
it
I think
was-
that's why I never took it, is because I was like, oh, I'm not going to be running a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wait, it's just basically like better
Yeah.
home ec. I could have taken this class.
Yeah. And so
Would have
he's
loved to have
act-
been making cookies.
He's acting like he doesn't want to be there, but he's secretly pumped, especially when he finds out that there is a $1 million scholarship cook-off that is happening that you can enter to be accepted to compete.
You have to create an original recipe and submit it.
That's right.
And then based on the original recipe, they'll narrow down the finalists.
That's right.
And that you have to mail the food in too, not just the recipe, right?
Apparently.
You have
Yeah,
to mail
that's
the actual food in the
my
mail.
I
understanding.
don't know. Eddie does.
Mail a sauce
But
bucket.
what's her name? I don't feel like does. She's just like
Because hers was like a cake.
You
Right.
talking about my girl Bridget?
Bridget like
some respect on that,
gives the home ec teacher the recipe and is like, make sure that the blah blah blah. I don't know. Eddie went above and beyond. I think he said, I'm worried that the sauce isn't going to speak for itself with words, and so I have to make. I don't know.
Well, he didn't know that he had to write the recipe down.
That's right.
He was ready to mail it off, and he happens to run into Bridget asking about her recipe, and she's like, "Yeah, you have to write the recipe down."
That's true. It's a good point. Maybe
Yeah.
he doesn't.
He
Ultimately,
just
maybe
sent the sauce in so people could taste how good it was.
That's right.
And
was
then
just
we
like,
never
yeah.
hear about that sauce again,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't come back.
Yeah, but aside
Just
from
some blue sauce,
yeah.
it's done.
Now,
It's like barbecue sauce, but
really,
better.
sorry, I've jumped forward a little bit about the sauce. The sauce.
Oh,
is,
how do we get to the sauce?
originates from a food fight. There's a food
Classic
fight,
food
one
fight.
of two food fights in this movie, if you're counting, and it's a food fight in home ec because he kind of wants to take attention off of the fact that he's interested in cooking. Like he asks a question, and his buddies are like, "You're giving," he's like, "What?" And then it becomes a food fight. It was like me starting a food fight would be better than me dealing with the
Yeah.
potential of me liking
Yeah.
cooking. And so a food fight breaks out. It is an absolute mess. But in all of this mess, somehow, don't ask, doesn't matter, a giant bowl is now full of this purple goo. And our guy, not dirty, not bastard, Frankie,
B and Frankie.
the Frankie is bold enough, is wild enough to eat the goo, and is like, this stuff is amazing. And so Eddie now is like, I want to figure out how to make this. So he
goes home and reverse engineers it. and
reverse
figures out a
engineers the
recipe.
recipe. That's right, and he is going to
Yeah,
submit. this.
Eddie's commitment to baking at midnight in the kitchen and making an absolute mess of the entire kitchen, the ceiling, the floor, the
dog.
dog, and then having the kitchen spotless and nobody in the house waking up. It's great.
It's impressive.
It's an
It's
impressive.
Yeah.
I would never clean that well.
And I also am sure we're going to talk more about Bridget, but I just want you to put yourself in Bridget's shoes. She loves cooking. She's devoted most of her free extracurricular time to cooking. This guy stumbles into a cereal fried chicken recipe and shows up, and because of a food fight, has a possibly $1 million dish by accident. So, justice for Bridget, early often. I'm just letting you know.
Early often.
Yeah, Bridget is not afraid. She comes in, she's got her own cooking utensils.
That's right.
She is here because she loves home ec. She
cares.
loves cooking and baking. And they all tease her, and she's just like, I'm good at this. Like, I don't care what you think
Yeah.
of
Shove
me. Like,
off.
Yeah.
yeah, Bridget's a hero.
And so he knows that he wants to submit the sauce as his recipe. He finds out that he has to actually submit the written recipe per Bridget letting him know. And so he runs home, and that is when his mom finds him getting ready to try to bake it so he can write down the recipe. And he finally comes clean. Hey, I've got some news. I am interested in baking. And mom is understanding.
She's so supportive.
Mom is
So
like,
supportive.
Just like,
I will-
okay, well, then let's do it.
That's right. I will work with you and we will do this. So, some time passes and Eddie, his teacher, one day makes an announcement to the entire class that Bridget has made it into the $1 million cook-off, but also Eddie and his friend, specifically DB, as I'll call him in this case. I don't want anybody.
Dirty bastard.
is really like, what, dude, you kidding me right now? One of those things. And he's like, it's a joke. Mom, Dad, it's a joke.
It's a joke. I just kind of wanted to
I
enter this
entered it
competition as a joke.
As a joke. Like, did you see how mad Bridget was? It's
He was
hilarious.
like,
it's
remember
so
that
funny.
purple goo from the food fight? That's what I entered.
Yeah, I sent it in. It was a big goof.
It was a goof.
Yes.
So funny. I spent all this time figuring out an exact recipe. Hilarious, right?
Yes. And so they kind of are like, okay, whatever. He gets home and his dad has found out. The teacher
Basically,
called,
yes.
and Dad is really unhappy about this. He's like, you have one thing, it's baseball.
You're a baseball boy.
Cooking's for girls. Don't be a little girl. Stuff like that. Mom comes in. And Mom is like, oh, you won. That's so amazing. And Dad gets hurt about that and all this stuff. So it's like, whatever. You think maybe people are going to be happy for him or whatever. No, they're not. He walks through school. They announce it to the entire school. He begins to be teased and bullied by everybody because of the fact that he likes cooking. But he decides, you know what? Forget that. I am going to dive headfirst into this. He shows up to the teacher's class after school to learn more about cooking. It's just him, Bridget, the teacher, kind of like, hey, let's work on your skills to get you
Yeah.
at the best
They're
shape.
going to learn how to julienne and how to chop and how to fold in the cheese.
You got to fold that cheese in. You got to fold that cheese in. And
You have to fold it in.
yes, fold it.
Fold it.
It's at this point he starts to blow off his buddies when they want to throw the old pigskin baseball. It's a baseball that's made out of
The
pigskin.
old pigskin baseball.
That's
you
right.
know the one.
That's right.
And that's how you can
Tickets?
tell
Get
that
your tickets
Bran
here.
loves tossing the old
I
pigs.
love tossing the old pigskin.
The old pigskin baseball.
He is trying to do his best though to like still be there present for his team and also, but he finds more and more his mind going to cooking. He begins to mess up some. He's taken his foot off the base and whatnot, and people are noticing that you can't do both things. You can't.
Can't.
It affects your game. You either are going to be a baseball player or you are going to be.
You can't do cooking
Yes.
in baseball.
And all of it comes to a head when he finds out that the baseball championship fun times take place the same exact time and day as the cook-off.
Oh my gosh. They can play the Eagles in the championship game, the cook-off for, and I want to make sure I get this straight, $1 million in scholarships is the same time. So two really great options here for old Edro. I mean, he can either play in a Little League baseball game or he can cook do the thing he loves for $1 million.
That's right.
I don't think you understand, Dan, how often opportunities to win $1 million come around.
They're pretty regular. You're right. I'm sorry.
And baseball with your friends is a once in a lifetime
That's right.
opportunity.
That's right. That's
You'll
right.
never get a chance again to be bad at baseball.
So, yeah.
But what if you could do both? What if you could turn back time and you could slow it
To
down
the good old days.
to where you could do both at the same time? Come on. That's right.
It's a lot to take in.
That's a lot to take in. So what's he do, Brain?
Well, he decides that he's going to do baseball, but before he can do that, he has to properly say goodbye to cooking. So
Yes.
he goes by the set, sees
I
Bobby
remember the
Flay.
stupid things, the
Bobby
mood
Flay's
rings,
like, hey,
the
man,
bracelets and the beads."
you better go put on your cooking attire.
Cooking gear.
And he's like, I'm not staying, man. I got baseball. Championships, pretty big deal down there. Selling lots of tickets. Ticket guy sold out is what he said. And so Bobby Flay's like, all right, man, whatever. Best of luck to you. He goes to the game, and not only is he kind of out of it, he's not swinging, he's taking his foot off the bag, all this stuff. But the team's also not.
They're locked into the cooking.
Yeah, because
They give him so much S word for wanting to cook, and then at the game, the championship game, they got a little portable TV and they're watching the cooking thing.
That's right. So ultimately, his friends kind of come around and they're like, "Go, buddy, go. You should go and cook."
And they do it in a really nice and supportive way, right?
I mean, they basically.
Well, the dirty bastard gets up there and gives him a hard time
Yeah.
and tells him he's a terrible
Yeah.
human being. And what do you want to take all the
It
credit
would
here
have been a
for?
great moment for DB to be like, hey, bud,
Call him by his
I
name.
realize
Call him by his
Davey.
name.
I will not.
Call him by his name.
I'm not going
It's
to.
the least you could do.
I can't.
Call the child a dirty bastard.
I can't do it.
Aaron,
He's not a child anymore.
come on. Call the kid a dirty bastard.
He
Do
needs
it.
to tell his friend to go pursue his passion, and instead, stop it! I don't want to say it.
It is. It is
He
how
just
most.
tells his friend, he's like,
What's
"Hey,
he acting like in
we
that scene?
jerk,"
Yeah.
and he's just like, "We can do this without you, so go on, get."
Go on, get
It is 100%
And then they all
how.
start throwing their gloves at him, and he's like, "Thanks, guys."
Love you. It is 100% how a 12-year-old boy would tell the other 12-year-old boy to go pursue his dreams by being like,
If his dreams weren't mainly
that's right.
quote unquote.
That's right.
Yes.
Get out of here, man. We don't even need you. And then it's like a wink, and it's like, you got this. One of those things. And so him and his mom leave, and Eddie's dad is frustrated and mad. Not only because he's leaving and he's not really sure how to feel about that, but also now that Eddie is on the TV, the team is even less locked in on what's
Yeah.
going in.
They don't know
And-
the order in which they're batting. They're
Yeah.
just going up willy nilly.
And he overhears that Eddie, not only did he show up late to the competition, an hour late, in fact, but he doesn't have anybody helping him because his mom doesn't actually know how to cook. We find that out. She's like, I can't
She's
do
in the
this.
stands, like, and I like
Maybe
she's
she
like,
didn't know. Maybe she didn't know.
She just has been out of it.
She's been out.
yeah.
And so finally, Eddie's dad realizes, you know what? I need to be there for my son and support him. So he can't just leave either. He has to go and verbally assault the the umpire. And again, fair. It's baseball. It's what we do.
That's what we do.
It's what we do. We just yell at umpires.
And the ump's
whether
like,
they
you
deserve
say
it or not.
one more thing and you're out of here. And so he kicks a bunch of dirt on the umpire's shoes.
Got him. And so he shows up and he begins to help.
He
And
begins to crack eggs one-handed like a pro.
Like
Yes.
he's done it his whole
like
life.
a girl. And so that's happening.
The big takeaway is that guys don't need any practice to be good at cooking. They
That's
just
right.
show up and they're good at it.
Yeah, if we really wanted to.
Yeah,
You know.
they have all the ability. They don't need to practice. That's the big takeaway from Eddie's $1 Million
That's
Cook-Off.
that was what I took away.
Eddie's dad thinks cooking's for girls and shows up and he's freaking Iron Chef Michael Simon in there.
which
crazy.
which brings me to my hot dogs that I've brought in to compete with Aaron's hot dogs. It's the Great Hot Dog Championship.
All right, where they at?
Yeah, I'm mad at it.
I ate them all. So,
Dirty bastard.
hey. It's not me. It's not me. It's the character. So that's going on. The
If
baseball
you put
game.
your initials together, DNB, together.
That's true.
DNB.
We're a couple of dirty
DNB was
bastards.
like Dave Matthews Band.
He's going to cook now. He's going to crack some eggs and make some chicken
Bobby
He's-
Flay over there.
in that direction. The game's still going on,
Yeah, it
and
is.
it turns out they actually didn't need Eddie
Or the coach.
or the coach. Backup coach is crushing it, and they end up winning in a. We don't even need to break it
Yeah,
down.
the final hit of the game defies
I
all
don't wanna talk- I
science
don't wanna
and
talk about
logic and rules of
As
baseball.
someone that loves baseball and cooking, I don't want any part of that the baseball discussion.
Back at the competition, they are up against it literally, but they finish their dish just in time. They turn it in, and Eddie loses. Eddie loses to Bridget. Bridget
As
wins.
he should.
But the rest of the team shows up, and they still cheer for him.
We get this nice teachable moment. His friend Frankie is all upset, like he's the best chef here. Why didn't he win? And the one time Bobby Flay was a decent human being in my eyes, he looks at Eddie and he goes, "See, he is a winner."
He is a winner.
And for those of you that caught that shade, as it was very thinly veiled, Aaron Shea has a vendetta against Bobby Flay for something that he didn't do at all.
He didn't do it. I'm sure he's a great guy.
I don't know if we should say that. He's a great TV personality.
We don't know anything about
I don't know
him.
anything about him. Money changes people. That's
right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no. My first job in high school was I worked at Kohl's. He had a line of cookware at Kohl's. I had to hear his throwdown with Bobby Flay once every 15 minutes for 4 years.
You hate it when somebody personally rubs their success in your face, like Bobby Flay did. To
No,
Aaron. He showed up every day and he said, "I'm Bobby Flay. It's a throwdown."
If he had shown up once a day and rubbed it in my face, I'd be like, "Good for you, Bobby." But like
At
four
the Kohl's
times
in
an
Massachusetts.
4 times an hour, I had to hear the little trailer for Throwdown with Bobby Flay.
And she literally, that
I'm
was
still
16
mad about
years
it.
ago, and she hasn't
still
forgiven
mad
him.
about
Yes.
it. I hear Bobby Flay's name, and I'm like, no.
Speaking of forgiveness, though, Eddie does forgive his dad.
In the spirit of the resurrection.
They have a wonderful heart-to-heart where there's lots of baseball analogies thrown around, but ultimately the message here is you can do whatever you put your mind to, and I am your dad, and I will support you and all that good stuff. Eddie and his friend go to celebrate, and Bridget is sad because no one cares that she won, and Eddie says, "Come on, Bridget, come celebrate with us," and they head off together, and that was Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to share our thoughts on this movie, throw it in our rankings here on
Decom Descendants.
Decom Descendants. Bobby Flay sucks.
Oh, it's perfect. That's a great joke.
I was like, it's going to be in my head.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to
Hello,
Decom Descendants.
Decom Descendants.
Dirty bastard.
I'm Erin.
I'm Dan.
I'm Brett. We're talking about Eddie's $1 Million
Take it to the
Cook-Off.
tape.
It is it's time for
Tickets.
overtime.
Honk honk.
It's time for overtime. It is where we share how this movie aired over time. I have some Letterboxd reviews if you want it.
Yeah.
3.5 stars from Sienna. This is for you, Erin.
Oh.
Why am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in food. Nat says 3 stars. Breaking gender barriers, one weird purple sauce at a time. Caroline says 2 stars. Troy Bolton is quaking. Antonio says, furthering my theory that DCOMs are secretly pro-LGBTQ movies, but they were too afraid to make movies about being gay, so they made it about being a chef instead.
All right, so this guy is awful, but also secretly, like, they're making the movies they're allowed to make people feel comfortable with themselves.
I think that's like he's saying.
Oh,
like,
I thought he was doing it like
no,
he was being
they're
serious.
too afraid to do it, so
Yeah,
this is how they're
okay.
gonna do it. Yeah.
Instead of Eddie liking boys, Eddie likes cooking.
Like it's shit. It's
But
cooking.
that review then it intimates that cooking is
Still.
effeminate.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Like I heard that review and I thought this guy's an a-hole.
No, I thought like that. They're afraid to do this thing, and so what's a way that we can do this thing? And it's like, hey, here we go. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Could go either way.
Victoria says, hey, let us
I mean,
know,
we could
Antonio.
dive into why DB was really upset.
Yeah, we certainly could. Seem to be protesting quite a bit.
Landon says 2.5 stars.
Who's DB?
Every problem in this
His friend?
movie. Every problem in this movie. What's his name though?
David.
Oh,
It's not David.
Brandon, the synopsis told me it was David.
It's incorrect.
Okay.
he changed it
Oh, well. He didn't tell me about it.
to dirty.
No, that's good for him.
Dirty bastard. Landon says 2.5 stars. Every problem in this movie could be solved if Eddie just said, yeah, so. And Adam says.
It's a big ask for a middle schooler, by the way,
I know.
to just brush off everyone.
4.5 stars. Eddie walked so that Troy Bolton could sing.
That's true.
Listen, you don't want to
parallels
hear
between those two
You don't want to
movies.
hear my hot take on those two movies because you'll both be mad at me.
It's time to break down Eddie's $1 Million
Give me Tyler
Cook-Off.
Ball over Zac Efron every day.
Share our thoughts on it. What did you think about this movie, Aaron?
Yeah, I am going to respond to Dan's comment and say he's right.
Oh, really?
This movie, I think, does the concept that High School Musical is going for, it does it better, in my opinion. I still would choose High School Musical over this
Just because of nostalgia.
because of the music.
Yeah.
Anything that I can sing along to is going to win over anything else, except with High Society and Philadelphia Story.
Of course. I mean, I think
Alonzo,
Brandon-
if you're listening, I'm not choosing High Society. Anyway, yeah, I really liked, I mean, it frustrated me when Eddie kept getting all this pushback on him just enjoying cooking. But there are several moments in this movie where there is pushback from the people who are being like made fun of. The dad, gives Eddie at home a really hard time about cooking But then even on the baseball team, there are 2 girls on the team, and you know, he's always saying like, you know, this other kid, oh, he runs like a girl, he catches like a girl, or this team's really easy to beat, their head coach is a nurse. And there's this scene where finally like the team has kind of had enough, and then one of the girls like, well, I can run good and I can run bad. Like, why is me running like a girl mean that it's bad? Like, I know I'm not a good runner, but it's not because I'm a girl, it's because I'm uncoordinated. You know, and the other girl's like, why do I always have to be one of the guys? Like, I just want to be part of the team. And then we find out that other people on the team, like their parents are nurses, their dads are nurses. And that's kind of like, and so there's this pushback where it's like, hey, you've been saying all this to us and it's not okay. And I really liked that in 2003, we got some pushback there. There's some pushback at other times when it's like, no, this is something that I like, you know, and the dad kind of realizes I should be here to support you. Like, you know, he watches Hannah's mom has thought she's been a cheerleader this whole time. Hannah's actually on the team. She finds out her daughter is on the baseball team and she's like, cool, we'll talk about it later. But like, whatever makes you happy, I'm here for. And immediately switches into like supportive parent mode. And the dad's like, huh.
Oh, that's interesting how that
That's
works.
interesting how you just supported your child when it wasn't what you wanted. And so there's just a lot of that, like, that doesn't happen in High School Musical, where, you know, Troy only really gets accepted because he's good at
Basketball's still on the forefront.
Well, he's like,
for
yeah,
him.
he's still a star basketball player, but he also gets the lead in the play. And so it's like,
And he still wins the championship.
He
gets to
gets
do
it all.
Yes, that's right.
And he's accepted because he did it really well, where this is really nice, where it's like, hey, I really loved this thing. And I loved cooking, and nobody really believed in me, but I was my passion, and I wanted to pursue it. And I didn't win, but it was okay. Like, I had fun, and it's still something that I'm going to pursue, even if it's not professionally or, you know, forever. So, yeah. This is a movie I don't think I loved as a kid, because I probably as a kid thought it was too many baseball scenes.
How dare you?
Sorry. And there's some shout out to the Yankees in there too, so I was probably like, ugh.
Yeah, right.
But I really enjoyed watching it today. I think it was a really good movie. It had some really good messages in it. And it made me want to go home and bake something.
There you go.
I love this movie a lot. I loved it then. I loved it now. It's a movie that I have watched many, many times. I think this movie slaps. And to your point, there's obviously a comparison to High School Musical. I think what High School Musical has going for it is musical.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this movie had songs, are you kidding me right now? But there is no denying.
I think I would have honestly liked it less.
Really?
Like, I think it would have taken away, like, they have some really good conversations.
Yeah, but you haven't heard the bops that I've come up with for
Okay,
this movie.
well, we'll talk-
I think
we'll
if you
talk
just
after.
hear
Yeah, okay.
them,
Bop to the top.
bop, 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 bop to the top.
All right, we'll talk after recording.
What High School Musical has songs that are real catchy, and so they have that going for them. But this movie is great, and this lead is fantastic.
Oh, the
and
scene where he doesn't win, and he just has like his
This dude
eyes
is
are
so
just
good.
red, and like you
It's
can
so
like he is
good.
holding it.
He
Like
is-
he put him and Kimberly J. Brown in a movie.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe it?
Stop
Or
selling.
can you imagine? Because I can't believe it because it didn't happen.
Only imagine.
Yeah, this movie slaps. It is. It's been when Disney Plus came out and they were like, we're gonna have all the DComs on it. This was one of the ones that I was most excited to go back and watch because it had been so long. So
I think I watched it too when Disney Plus came out.
I love this movie. I think that it slaps, and it was great to circle back to it. Dano,
Yeah, while not as maybe successful across the board as like motocross is at being inspirational, this movie is incredibly well done for a movie about breaking stereotypes in a very modern, functional way that I think kids in 2003, I wish I'd have seen this movie. I said while we were watching this movie, I didn't find out until I was probably near 30 years old that I enjoy cooking. And I'm 41 right now, and I played 5 sports in high school. And if I could go back and do it again, I have very few regrets about high school. But one of them is maybe I didn't have to play 5 sports. Maybe I could play 2 or 3 sports and do some other things. And there would have been no worlds in my household. And my parents weren't like, you're a guy, you can't cook. They never said that. But my dad never cooked. My brother never cooked. We didn't do that because that's not what we were supposed to do. And so this movie can be very quietly inspirational, I think. And Tyler Ball is fantastic in this movie. He is, what he's doing in his performance is very, very difficult. I say this knowing that like what Zac Efron does in High School Musical is fairly iconic because of all the dance moves. But from a pure acting, like pure character stuff, what this guy's doing is as good a male performance as we've seen in one of these movies. And I've seen, including High School Musical. I think he's the star of the show. I think the baseball side of it isn't great. I think it's the baseball side of it's very inconsistent. And I would have much preferred to see everyone lose. I know that sounds like a terrible thing in a Disney movie, but he should have just gone to this cooking thing and still lost to Bridget. I think that was the best way to go about this. But I love the fact that he like everyone in this movie. I'm going to make sure before I go any further.
Okay.
Everyone in this movie,
Dirty Bastard?
Including Dirty Bastard for sure. Everyone in this movie, including Bridget to some extent, needs to change their perspective and how they treat people. Even the mom, who's silent at first when he gets ragged on, to standing up for him. The dad, the girl on the baseball team who's scared to tell her mom. Every single person in this movie needs to change their perspective, learn, and treat people with more kindness and more respect and more equality and compassion. That is like unbelievable for an 83-minute Disney movie. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as all the other ones, but boy, howdy, if that's not impressive. And I can't believe that they didn't have just bad guy, good guy. They had a bunch of people who had preconceived notions. And the thing is this, is if you're willing to fail forward and you're willing to go, my preconceived notions were wrong. I have to do that almost every day of my life and continue to do it. And if you're willing to do that, then the world can be a better place. And this movie somehow crafts a believable world where that happens. And that did my heart some good. So I was thrilled. This movie's great.
I think that's why the review that you thought was negative, because every time there's a movie like this with a DCOM, there are so many Letterboxd reviews about this being an iconic gay storyline that they couldn't tell. And so this idea...
Equating cooking with gay, I understand being like a coded thing, but also I hate that because... The point of the movie is you can be masculine and you can be...
but it's just another thing where I can't come out and say that I like cooking because of this. And then by the time you finally come out and you say it,
I literally think it could go either way.
Sure.
I really do.
There's only one way to find out. Antonio, let us know.
Antonio, shout out and let us know. I know you're listening. Yeah.
But I think it's because of how many Letterboxd reviews I read that I... took it that way.
Fair.
Because
more than fair.
I'm really in the
more
weeds.
than I do.
I'm in the weeds of the Letterboxd reviews.
Yeah.
And I think I understand the ending where both lose, the groundhogs
Look,
lose.
it's DCOM. They got it.
But I do think it was important for the growth of those characters to win without Eddie.
Yeah.
Like they were losing, they were down.
To Dirty Bastard's point, we don't need you.
Like, and it was just like, hey, when they said like, we need to rely on ourselves for once. And it was like, I think that was, could they have just caught up and maybe still lost by one? Sure. But I think it was important to see them like, oh, we actually don't need Eddie. Like we can come together as a team and rely on ourselves. And I think that was a nice message for them.
Yeah.
And then we still get
Maybe
Eddie
you could have
crying.
maybe you could have hit a home run though.
Here's what I like.
Yeah. Like
I like that if Eddie doesn't play in the game at all. So like what I like is if Eddie is like, all those kids finally accept him for who he is and go, hey, this is more important. Also, it's for $1 million effing.
They never talk about the prize money in this entire movie. It is just like in name
If I have a complaint about this movie, it's the $1 million. And I think it's a legitimate complaint. What are you doing?
What does that mean?
It doesn't matter. The kid loves cooking. You don't need to make it $1 million scholarship. That makes no sense at all. But
also, what's
and it's just for culinary schools is what they say at some point.
School doesn't cost $1 million. So like once I go to school,
you don't get the rest of that money. What is it for? Like I don't get it.
Do I get to open a restaurant with the rest of that money?
It's the worst part of it. But if the team is like, we support you, and then they're watching the cooking competition and they're winning without him, I love that. Yeah. But when he plays in it and then leaves, I just was like,
I think for the point of it, like I think he needed to walk away from cooking, do that whole bit, show up at the field, and like before he plays, his team be like,
yes, agreed.
You shouldn't be here.
100%. We're nitpicking here.
This is really, really, and I think that's what's leading to this really great discussion of like, it was really good.
Yeah. But it's a DCOM at the end of the day. They're gonna have the team win the game. I get that. I understand.
Hi, we're back, and it's time for us to make our lists. Sorry, I took a journey there.
Yeah,
I
you
was
just
thinking, I was thinking about
just
stuff.
left us. That's fine.
It's time to make our list.
Real DV move.
Whoa.
How dare you?
How dare you? It's messed up,
I
man.
thought he was doing that because I accidentally hit your knee.
You did hit my knee, and we'll
That's
file,
just-
But I
we'll
hit your
file
knee
it later.
with my knee and not my
That's right.
hand.
That's true.
That's
That's
just
true.
another-
So we're-
So, still
we're
above board, I
progressive.
It's
think.
another Tuesday. Hey, what's this shirt feel like? It's a tough day for
That
me.
was a tough day for you.
Tough day for me.
Aaron, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Like
It's
in
a lot of
this
them.
movie, you learn, you fail forward, and you pick yourself
You
back
learn
up.
not to just touch women's arms at random.
Yes, even if they're wearing sequins, it doesn't matter what they're
That's right.
wearing.
They,
Yeah.
Even if you think they're asking for you to
Yes.
touch their arm.
Even if you think that they're wearing a pillow where if you go this way, it shows you something. If
Yeah.
you go this way,
Yeah.
it shows you something else.
That
it
would have
doesn't
been
matter.
such a cool jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad that my jacket didn't do that.
It was just a regular one.
Just
Yeah.
a reg.
Let's get to our list.
Really, it's your
Aaron!
fault for deceiving.
Aaron,
Yeah.
where are you putting this one?
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, so this movie is going to debut in my top 10.
New addition to the list, everybody. What got
Yeah.
kicked out, Aaron? Tell me, because now it's getting real.
Scream Team.
Man, I hate that.
I know.
I hate that so much.
I know. Yeah, I really thought about it. Like going in, I knew it was going to be pretty high, but I figured it would just be somewhere around like 12, 13, 14, somewhere there. But the more we discussed about it, I was like, no, this is actually a really
Yeah,
good
it's a
movie.
good movie.
And I think it would rate lower if we didn't have those like pushback scenes. Like if Dad just somehow magically learned not to be a sexist on his own, I'd
That'd
be
be
like,
terrible.
yeah, okay, but whatever. But the fact that like the team speaks up for themselves and like Mom says something and like people learn how to speak up for themselves,
Correct.
and defend,
Yeah.
you know. And I really like that. I wish I had seen this movie more. I wish that like my memories of it was
If
so
it
much
wasn't for
baseball.
the $1 million part, this that's the one thing in this movie that you're just like, what the world? But everything you're saying is
They
right.
use Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off the way that they also say Eddie's incredible edible sauce.
That's right. Yeah.
We didn't need edible. We didn't need $1
$1 million. We didn't.
So, but yeah. So we'll go through my list. Halloween Town got kicked out. Scream Team is number 10.
Halloween Town kicked out.
Halloween
Okay.
Town got kicked
Wow.
out.
It's getting real.
Tough day for
That
everyone.
almost hurts more.
It hurts
Stings.
that Scream Team is above Halloween Town.
Scream
Yeah,
Team
that's
is
the
above
thing.
it in my list too, by one.
Well, yeah.
Better movie.
But I know how much Halloween Town meant.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I was
10-year-old you is like, how dare
Just
you?
crying.
12-year-old, whatever.
She can't believe that the baseball movie.
She's so
You like
disappointed. in
baseball
you.
now? What are you, a dude?
Listen, I know dudes like baseball and
That's
Excel
right.
spreadsheets, and that's all.
That's right.
And women
That's
cook.
what we do, man.
And that's we can't help that. So number 10, Scream Team. Number 9, Miracle in Lane 2. Number 8, Get a Clue. Number 7, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. 6, Phantom of the Megaplex. 5, Smart House. 4, Johnny Tsunami. 3, Right on Track. 2, Cadet Kelly. And 1, Motocrossed.
All right. That's a great list. I love that list.
Gosh, thank
It's
you.
a great list. It's really good.
All that time spent in my prayer room has
right.
paid off.
It's a great
So I
list.
also spent some time in my prayer room.
Brink
I-
is still number 1.
Of course it
yeah,
is.
that's
You
not.
didn't, you didn't pray. You didn't pray for nothing.
If you remember last week, I had Even Stevens' movie on my top 10, relatively high.
Yeah, you did.
And
which was a move.
I took some time and I realized I was swept up in the emotion
Yeah.
of the funny and
The nostalgia.
Shia LaBeouf comedy of it all. What ultimately did it, as I was thinking
you can
about,
do that with that movie, but not with Brink, which is wild to me. Go ahead.
yeah, one of them is the greatest movie of all time. One of them is the Even
He's
Stevens
in
movie.
such denial.
As I knew Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off was going to end up in my top 10. So as I began to play around with that brought up a lot of other issues.
Went to my therapist.
that Even Stevens movie being in my top 10
Is
caused
this
a
really
bit of
why I came over to babysit your kids so that you could have some uninterrupted prayer time?
That's fair.
I would have stayed longer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get Brink out of there,
Yeah,
I think we
just
can.
let me know
Guys,
next
Brink,
time.
stop moving.
I
Brink,
can
stop
stay
moving.
however late if you need more time in the
Even
prayer room.
Stevens is out of my top 10. It has moved down to number 12.
Okay. I think it's
pretty good, yeah.
Phantom of the Megaplex 10. But the problem was moving Eddie
it's
to where
it's 13 on my list.
moving Eddie to where Eddie is, which I'll get to in a second, pushed and leaving Even Stevens movie in my top 10 pushed Phantom of the Megaplex out, and I couldn't in good.
You couldn't.
That
Even
then
Stevens,
made me look at
28 on
everything
my
else.
list.
That made me. That then made me
28
look.
on my list. Even.
Yeah, but yeah.
I didn't see that. I didn't see the show.
You know, no respect.
Yeah,
I
Phantom of
think
the
there's-
Megaplex not being in your list
So
would have
that
been
was
unacceptable.
so that is what made me go, I may have.
We are probably going to get to a point where it's not in my top 10.
It's Phantom is eventually like
It's at 10 for
it's
you.
at 10, so it's going to fall
Yeah.
out. But I couldn't. I think so that's what made me get to thinking and to praying. 9, Mom's Got a Date. 8, Luck of the Irish. 7, Smart House. 6, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. 5, Cadet Kelly. 4, Get a Clue. 3, Motocross. 2, Johnny Tsunami. And number 1, the greatest movie of our generation and every
Motocross.
generation, Brink. Dano.
Without Brink, your list makes a lot more sense. Hey, RIP for Brink. That is now no longer in my
I'm honestly
top
just
10.
happy it made it that long. You know.
Here we are. It's November of 24, and Brink is now 11 on my list.
I'll take that.
Eddie's is on my list. You had it at 7, and you had it at 6.
I did.
I have it at 6. So we're all right in the same wheelhouse with that movie. This is the most we've agreed on a movie, I think.
Quite some time.
10, Miracle in Lane 2. 9, Halloween Town. 8, Scream Team. 7, Get a Clue. 6, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. 5, Cadet Kelly. 4, Phantom of the Megaplex. 3, Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. 2, Johnny Tsunami. Number 1, Best Decom, Motocross. I love it. I could maybe be talked into Eddie's going a little bit higher too, but Cadet Kelly has stuck with me as a better movie than when I was watching.
Well,
listen,
that's kind of where I'm stuck. Is this is where I started to interplay the better movie versus what am I going to rewatch?
Well,
Because the
if it-
rewatch is the
the
tiebreaker.
guy in Cadet Kelly also would like to do some interplay. So that's interesting.
All right, well, there's that. I don't judge these by if I would ever watch them again. I'm not. If I would
That's
ever
my
show
tiebreaker.
my kids these movies is a big deal for me. And Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off is like number 2 on that list behind Motocross. So like, that's the thing that is a big deal for me. The $1 Million
Let's
part,
show your kids Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off and then give them free range in the kitchen.
they love to cook.
It could
but-
inspire them. It could
Could.
inspire them. We did it, everybody.
we
Congratulations
did.
to us. We're going to be back next week with
Cheetah Girl.
Cheetah girl. She
Girls.
was a cheetah girl.
Cheetah Girls, Cheetah Sisters.
we were asking for some music, and Eddie's $1 Million, or not asking.
We're
I
gonna
guess.
get music
We're
next
gonna get music
week.
next
Cool.
week. So
Is it a
join us
rock
for
band?
They're a girl group.
that girl group. It's the Cheetah Girls.
Raven Simone,
All right.
Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams, like Academy Award winner Michelle
No,
Williams?
no.
Destiny's Child Michelle Williams?
Yeah, is that right?
No, I don't know.
All right, cool.
Sabrina,
Everybody.
who hosts that show with Will Friedle.
Got
is on
it. Sabrina Carpenter?
No, not Sabrina.
Sabrina King.
No.
Sabrina Bryan.
Keep
Sabrina
going.
Bryan. Sabrina Bryan.
We'll be back next
Sorry,
week.
Keely Williams, not Michelle Williams. I knew I was getting somewhere.
Wow, we went off on quite a tangent.
What can you do?
Keely.
Until next week.
Decom it all day.
Decom.
Decom Descendants is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Brandon Gray.
Hi.
Here in that Greenville, South Carolina, the Bramble Jam Podcast Network Studios. For more information on Decom Descendants, follow us on the socials at Decom Descendants. Go to the web, decompodcast.com. To watch us watch these movies live, you can go to BrambleJamPlus.com.